Hello and welcome. This is day 100 of my leukemia journey, and I am Ken Kinter. And the yesterday and today are pretty big days, particularly yesterday. It's interesting to think about 100 days. It seems like a long time and not a long time at the same time. So yesterday I wrapped up cycle 2B out of 4B, total of 8 chemo treatments, and got through this one pretty good. As far as the stay went, wasn't as bad as far as the side effects. Not exactly a vacation, not exactly a holiday, but not too bad. And also got some really good news from my oncologist that the MRD, the minimally resistant diseases, are still negative. So that means less of a likelihood of needing transplant and more of a likelihood of doing monthly maintenance once I'm done with 4B. So that is all good stuff. The big results are still good. Um, I'm still going to be doing this into the fall, September, maybe even into October. But but again, I'm already at the end of July, so we're part of the way there. And maybe unduly optimistic, but I think I've been through the worst of this already. I've heard people say that chemo is cumulative, but also when I started chemo, I was really, really sick. So it was like a long fall. I didn't have far to fall, but you fall. And then the healthier, each time I'm healthier coming into it, I think I tolerate it better. Stay tuned. I could be completely full of crap. And in 2 weeks, you might be getting a completely different report out of me. But that's the delusion I'm operating under right now. Um, I things are good otherwise. Appetite is good, weight is holding, all the big things are going the way they need to go. um, I've had some interesting conversations with people and some thoughts lately. um, it has been kind of easy to keep my spirits up, and I think a lot of that is because of how much support I get. I went in for a 20 minute, um, it's a lumbar puncture, and we've talked about that before. It's not something I would recommend if you can avoid it. But uh, going through it, I come out the other side of it, and you have to lay flat for 2 hours. And I've got 6 texts from people from all over the place: coworkers, friends, bandmates, family, um, my wife's family, which they keep reminding me are my family. It's been 20 years now, so Um, so it's impossible to feel alone, and that's a good thing because then you're never just in it yourself. I think that's a really good feeling, and that it just comes from all sides, the thoughts, the prayers, everything. Man, I don't know if I was such a believer in that before, but I certainly am now. Uh, when you're alone, you struggle, you have doubts, you might pity your situation or get angry at why something happened. But when you just have this wave of people supporting you and telling you that you can do this and that you got this and that people are thinking about you and they care about you and offering every type of help imaginable under the sun, it's hard to feel anything but grateful. And boy, if you can feel grateful with cancer running through your body or when they're about to put a bunch of needles in your back, that's some serious gratitude, man. That's gratitude at a level I'm not accustomed to. So something I was thinking about between the hospital and being home was that in many ways, this is the worst year of my life. So I'm 55, just 56, just turned 56. And I've had struggles in my life, medical struggles, work struggles, but for the most part, my life has been pretty smooth. I think there are people who've been through a lot more stuff than I have. Um, and then this comes down the pipe, and I have to spend a whole summer home, hospital, on more medications that I can list, watching a lot of really sick people and being a really sick person and pretty much almost dying. There's a part of me that's having a real hard time accepting being down about that. I'm just really struggling with that. Am I in some sort of weird denial about this? Is this resilience? I don't know what this is. Um, it'd be very easy for me to say, oh my God, this is like the worst summer. This is the worst year of my life. But all that stuff is sort of preoccupied by the idea that there's a fight that needs to be won. You know, I was talking with my coworker today, and we were talking about how most of that fight is really just withstanding. withstanding the illness, withstanding the treatment. It's like I compared it to Muhammad Ali's rope-a-dope, where you just get up there and leukemia and chemotherapy take all their best shots, and you just stay on the ropes and push them back every once in a while. And then when it's punched itself out, then you come off the ropes and start doing some damage. So presumably you've survived the assault, you've survived the treatment as well as the illness, and then you just come out firing and start dishing out the punishment. And that's how I've been viewing this. Leukemia won the first round, and since then each round has tipped a little bit more in my favor since then. And part of that has been my body's ability to withstand everything, and my mind to a certain degree, and also just the support. It's not just me. If it were just me, not sure how it would have gone. I don't know if I have that much faith in my own strength. And then the other part is I'm an incurable silver linings guy. So no matter how bad something is, and it's bad, where's the good that can come out of it? How can this be turned in some positive way? Whether that's making some good for someone else, something that I get to take away, from my journey that will help. And this journey has made me clearly aware of all the blessings that I didn't even know I had in people and things and all that kind of stuff. All of the support that I have, my own strength has never been tested like it's been tested now. And I think that test is going pretty well. So far at the halfway point, it's going about as good as this can go. And I'm very happy about that. And again, one set of blood work can change that. One treatment can change that. It's, this is where things are today. And it can be very different in a day or two or a week or two. My next, it's Thursday today, and my next appointment is Tuesday. And as I've talked about in previous sessions, I went from thinking about just surviving day to day to what am I doing in a couple days? What am I doing next week? And, trying not to think ahead and get expectations and hopes up that are then going to get lost, but also being able to think about life again. The whole purpose of this fight is to get my life back again, my life with my wife, my life with work, my life with travel, my life with just my friends, everybody, and I made a series of goals, starting with little goals to bigger goals, to fight my way back. And one of them comes up next Friday, a King's X show, my favorite band, who I've seen about 50 times. I'm going to see them next Friday. And I got these tickets a while ago, and I wasn't sure I was going to be there. And I was thinking about, oh my God, I've got all these tickets in my name. What happens if something happens to me? My friends can't go, all that kind of stuff. And of course, me thinking I can't go. Well, you can't go too far in advance, but I have every reason to indicate that I am, in fact, going to make that show. Very psyched about it, more psyched about that show than I've been any show of theirs or in general, because I feel like I had to fight for it. But then all these other goals, just being able to see everybody's who I want to see and hug everybody that's helped me and supported me along the way. I have a church to visit because they made me a very lovely prayer shawl that's helped me along the way. I sleep right next to it now, and its energy is there for me. And I also have ultimately get done this cycle 4B and get clearance to travel. We have a couple trips, and my whole life I've been wanting to make a trip to Egypt. You've probably heard about this before. I'm one of those guys who's nuts about pyramids and Valley of the Kings and all that kind of stuff. So that is the bucket list trip for me. If I had to pick one trip, that would be it. So I'm having a hard time not thinking like, okay, let me get cleared to do this trip, and then the next day get on a plane and go out to Cairo and start my tour. And my wife also, she got kind of screwed out of when she had her 60th birthday, she got screwed out of going to New Zealand, which is where she wanted to go because of COVID and then because of this. So she deserves that, especially after all this mess. So we kind of have two bucket list trips to go, and they're big flight, big ticket items, but we'll manage with that. That needs to happen. And then let's get to the rest of the list, because there's no shortage of places in the world I want to see. And I have even more of an appreciation for that now, having been pinned down, for a summer between illness and treatment. Um, so this feels like a bit of a ramble at this point. But I'm daring to think about reconnection to work, to life, to all that kind of stuff. And it's scary because that brings hope, but it also brings fear. Am I setting myself up for, something I'm not going to be able to do? But you know what? You act as if you're going to get there. You act as if you're going to be successful. I guess this is the law of attraction. But you stay open to things changing. You don't make any sort of definite plans carved in stone. Pardon the pun. I'm back to Egypt again. So that you can roll with what life dishes out. But at the same time, you're on the path to where you're going. I guess they talk about you navigate toward the North Star. You're not navigating to get to the North Star, but you're using that as the beacon to get where you're going. And I think that's what I'm doing. I had a great conversation with my coworker Dawn earlier today where I haven't had, I should say, the big pity party crash that people have. Why did this happen to me? This is so unfair. I have moments of watching people do things and wishing I could do those things, but I haven't had like I've had little moments of tears and jealousy and anger and things like that, but not a big thing. Not a big thing. I've always been able to stay focused on, what it is I need to do. I don't think I'm necessarily in denial about it, but I'm open to the idea that that is a possibility and that the big thing comes down, and maybe it's if I don't get better, so far there's been all progress. If there's bad news or if I hit a wall somewhere, that may change. If they say to me that, you're not going to be able to make these trips or you're not going to get better or you need the transplant or any of that, I'm open to the idea that that can change, but I'm also open to the idea that I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. This is working. So don't fix what ain't broke. So when that comes, if that comes, I'll deal with it, but I'm not going to worry about it in advance. Till then, I'm going to keep moving back in the direction of life and all of the things that come along with it and all those things that you make this part of. You make this something worth getting back to. We also talked about the idea of a fight, the kind of rope-a-dope thing, and how, for me, the biggest challenge in recovery from this is reaching down into your gut and finding the will and the desire to say, okay, today's a hospital day. Let's get to the hospital. Okay, today's a lumbar puncture day. Got to get ready to get down to IR and get some needles. Today's a day for this. So I got to be ready for this. Those are hard. And I can see how people have been in this a lot longer than me because I'm at like the 3-month mark, a little over. They've reached down a couple hundred times. And you can understand why you reach down and the thing isn't there, or they struggle to find it. With me, it's still been pretty easy to find that thing. Had to look for it a couple times, but it hasn't been that hard. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, I could see that it might be a lot more difficult. But as of right now, it hasn't been, and that has been a real blessing for me. So I apologize for taking so long between these things. Life is happening, which is good. I'm trying to get back involved in work as much as I can, which is good. So life is getting in the way, and that's the best possible reason. So maybe these become once, twice a week. I don't know. It depends how the updates go. I'm going to be back in the hospital again in a little less than 2 weeks for cycle 3A. And I'm going to enjoy my time out of the hospital as much as I can, have my fun, have my laughs, go back in, do what I need to do. I hate to say it, but chemo is sort of what do they say? Wash, lather, rinse, repeat at this point. It's a process. Just go in, do the process, endure, withstand, rope-a-dope. And then while I'm tolerating the treatment, my treatment providers are throwing all the punches at the disease. And that's my job. I'm in charge of the defense and they're in charge of the offense, I guess. I don't know. So anyway, that's how things are going so far. I hope this finds you well. I hope this finds you healthy. I hope that that this helps you in the idea of being grateful for what you have. Grateful that you can go to work, grateful that you can just go outside, grateful that you can do the things that you do that you don't even think about, because there's so many of us who can't do it, or who can do it but then need like a 2-hour nap afterwards because we can't do it for long. But I hope this causes some gratitude for you. I don't want you to feel bad for me. I don't feel like I'm having an awful time, all things considered. I mean, not that I'm going to recommend anybody develop cancer, develop leukemia. It's like the greatest thing ever, 4 stars, 5 stars. But there are worse things in the world, and even something like this comes with some benefit to it, some learning that happens to it. So I hope this causes you to look at your own life and find the joy and gratitude in your own life, and also prioritize those things in life that bring you joy, so that you take full advantage of those things while you can, because life and health are both fleeting. I've gotten a really good look at that recently. This was a real, this has been a significant high and inside pitch for me, but still here. And so are you. So that's a beautiful thing. Anyway, I'm going to split. Feel like I'm rambling. You all have a wonderful one, and I'm going to check back in. You know, I don't have not much to report because it's going to be a couple days before I get to the clinic, but I got some more things to, I'll never run out of things to say. That just comes with my personality. So anyway, you have a good one. Peace out and talk to you soon.